Hey y'all, if you're new to the channel, I'm Helen. Welcome. I am going to make an apple crisp. I went online and looked at several YouTube videos to see what was happening out there. And I have used for years a recipe out of this real lemon juice recipe collection. It's another one of those offers, in the on a I think on a real lemon juice bottle, and I sent off and got this little book. I don't know how much I paid for it, but I've used quite a few recipes from out of here. And this apple crisp, I'm going to do it just a little different. I'll type out the recipe and you can make it just as it is or do it the way I'm doing it. I don't want to go to a lot of trouble. So uh, now this is going to be the topping that goes on top of your apples, because for 1 cup of oats, now I've only got 3 apples, which is fine. It's always great if you can have a lot of apples. If you have a large family and you want to make it for everybody, then you'll need 7 to 8 apples, and you can use Gala apples. You can use Granny Smith, Honey Crisp, any kind of apple you want. Okay, next is a 1/2 cup of flour. Turn this down. I'm terrible about forgetting that. Okay, 1 cup of oats, a 1/2 cup of flour, 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. Got my little terracotta bear that I use in my brown sugar. It helps to keep it from drying up and getting hard. Okay, 1/3 a cup. Uh, then it calls for nutmeg. Most everybody else uses cinnamon, and I've always used nutmeg, but you have a choice. You can use nutmeg, you can use cardamom, you can use allspice, mace, or ginger. Any one of those would be good in there. And I think I'm going to put in some mace, because that's what I grew up eating, mace in the apple pies. And thinking I want to do a little bit of allspice, just a tad. Okay. Now, you want to mix those up. And then you need 1/3 of a cup of margarine or butter. And one of the YouTubers, she did brown butter. I thought, oh, that'll be good. So I've already made some brown butter. And to get brown butter, take a stick of butter and put it in your pan. You got to watch it because you don't want it to burn. But you'll smell it when it starts getting ready. But you want it to get brown. So I'm going to put this in here and scrape it out and get all of those little bits, those little flakes. Mix up that dry with the butter. Now some of the YouTubers, they didn't put oats in theirs. They just made the topping and didn't use the oats, but that's the part I like. blended pretty good. Now, I should have put my pecans in. I thought I would use pecans. The recipe doesn't call for pecans, but yummy, I think it would be good. So let me do that. You can toast these. It's always good to toast your nuts, but since this is going to be on the top of the dish instead of being cooked in, I'm not going to toast them. I'm going to take my chances. Okay, now I've chopped those up real fine because those that know, I wear dentures and nuts are hard for me to eat. So I made them really small. Okay, that ends up being a half a cup. Okay. Now it would have been better if I'd have mixed this, while that butter was melting all this together, but I think it'll be fine. Okay, now set that aside. And I am going to peel these 3 apples. Now, if you have a apple peeler core, I used to have one of those when I was doing a lot of processing of foods. And I wore one out. I had to buy another one. But those things are really nice if you're having to process lots of apples. And some people use peelers, but I just grew up cutting the peeling off. We didn't have anything fancy. We didn't even have a potato peeler. I don't know why Mama never bought one, but she never did. So I think this will probably be more filling, or topping rather, than apples, but that's okay. It doesn't matter for me. Now, if I was doing this for my family, I usually made it in my quiche dish, and I would use probably, I don't know, 6, 7 apples. Okay. Yeah, I'm still struggling with tsetse flies, so I've been saving my bread sack, and I put the nasties in there. My little container that I was using for the from the laundry detergent, it got full. So, all right, cut these apples. All right, and I'm particular about that little hard spot where the seeds rest. I've left them in some of my apple dishes, and that little thing is hard, so I always cut that out. You see right there where that seed was resting? It's got a little hard thing around it, and that's what I cut off. I'm gonna put some sugar on top of those apples. You can use white sugar, or you can use brown sugar. I'll use white sugar. Now, I'm not going to put a whole lot of sugar. I'm going to say, maybe 1/3 of a cup. Maybe not even that much, because that crisp topping has sugar in it too. All right, let's mix it up. I'll put some nutmeg on the apples. Just have it all spiced up. Okay. And then it calls for a tablespoon of starch. Now, a lot of them use flour, but this recipe calls for starch. And I don't know if you've ever noticed or not, but when you use cornstarch, like in gravies and things like that, it will make your gravy shine rather than a flat look like flour does. Okay, a little bit of salt. All right, and a little bit of lemon juice. Most everybody that I watched making their apple crisp, they used water. They would use some lemon juice, but they also used water because this recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup of real lemon juice. And you know, if you don't have uh, lemon juice, well, don't let that stop you. Just add some water. Doesn't have to be much, a couple of tablespoons, so you can get a little bit of sauce. And stir that around. That cornstarch will help make the sauce a little thick. All right, this recipe calls for raisins. It calls for 1/3 of a cup. I don't think I have 1/3 of a cup, so I'm just going to use what I have. If you don't like raisins, well, don't put them in. But I like raisins. Now, when it comes to the holiday season, you know, around Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything, when the cranberries, the fresh cranberries come out, I make an apple crisp using apples and cranberries, and that's really good, kind of festive looking, you know. Okay, let me get those raisins to move around. Okay, and I think that's it. Yep. Okay, now put this topping on here. Like I say, it would be great if I had more apples, but I don't. So, you know, I'm not going to let that stop me from eating something I want just because I don't have enough of something. Maybe, you know, this is all people have is just a little bit of something. So, just kind of mash that down in there. And this goes into a 350-degree oven for 30 to 40 minutes. You can also use peaches, make you a peach crisp. What else could you, oh, pear would be good. Or, you know, you have some other kind of fruit that you really like, you could try that. Don't limit yourself. You know, put your own spices in. Brown your butter or not. Use water instead of lemon juice. The lemon is just to keep the apples from turning brown, you know. Okay, I'm going to put this in my oven that I forgot to turn on, and I'll be back. Okay, y'all, the apple crisp is ready. I'm going to dish out a portion, and I let it cook for about an hour, I think the temperature wasn't quite high enough, so I turned it up a little bit. So, uh, and also, of the videos that I watched, there was one from America's Test Kitchen, and she explained how when the apple crisp is in the oven and it's heating up, and there's water in the apple, in the cell of the apple, and then it expands, and then the pectin in the apple is like a little net, and it disperses. And then when you let it cool down, then it's not as syrupy. So I thought, well, I like my cobblers and my apple crisp to be on the syrupy side. Now, if I'm making an apple pie, I don't want it to be real watery because I want the slice to hold together. So I thought that was an interesting piece of information. So you can take it for what it's worth. I'll put a link down below so you can watch it because she can explain it better than I can. But that was interesting. And also, I forgot to add when I was telling about the different spices you could use. Cinnamon is another one, and that's what most of the YouTubers that I watched, that's the spice that they used was cinnamon. And the box of raisins I've had that box for 5 months. I've had it since April. I had written the date on there. I was curious as to how long raisins would last, for me. Of course, it depends on what you cook and that sort of thing. But if that box of raisins was to go on sale, for half of what it usually is, then I would know that I could buy 2 boxes, and they'd last me probably 10 months to a year. So let's get into this apple crisp. Okay, here it is. All right. Now, I let this crisp. I put it on my Gen Air uh, vent, and so it's cooled off, and so there's not really a lot of juice in there. But oh my, I'll eat it anyway. Now you could serve this uh, with cream. You could serve it with vanilla ice cream or butter pecan ice cream. Whatever floats your boat. I don't know. You could put chocolate on there if you so desire. I think I would probably go for vanilla. Okay, let's try it out. See how it is. Or you could put Cool Whip on it. Mm-hmm. Mm. All those spices. Mm. I love it. It's really good. And believe me, every once in a while I cook something that just tastes horrible, because I like to experiment. I, I I like breaking the rules when it comes to cooking. Just because everybody uses cinnamon doesn't mean you have to or I have to. I like cinnamon. I like it. I love cinnamon rolls. I love cinnamon, but I wanted something different. Mm. And it's not real sweet. I didn't put much sugar on the apples, and so it's not overly sweet. Mm. And I chopped up the pecans small enough. They're not bothering my teeth, my dentures. And I think I would add a little more water than I did just so I can get that syrupy, when it's hot and you got that syrup and you put cold ice cream on there and it kind of melts. That would really be good. Okay, well, I hope y'all have a good evening, a good day, a good afternoon. And please remember to be kind to someone. Someone needs your kindness today. Bye.